Blast me to Electia! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey, Issue 58, Part 1, Lore, Painting and Build Guide. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. So today we are starting Issue 58. And this brings us our second Canoptek Wraith. A brand new issue full of awesome background, painting guides and missions. And as an added bonus, we've got our fourth and final game mat. So we'll have a look at this later on in the video. But right now, we'll do our usual. We'll look at our model up close and then we'll go through the magazine. So here we have our second Canoptek Wraith, and as you can see this one has a more upright profile. You got the remainder of his tail there curled up already on the base, and we have much the same components as we did on our last model, but we do have a few differences. We do have 4 totally different heads. Got one here with a singular eye, one here with a line of eyes, my personal favourite, the one with a trio of eyes one side and a fourth eye the other, and then one here with a whole bunch of eyes really. There, so yeah, like I said, I think this one's my favourite. It's really creepy. But we have the same options. We've got the trans-dimensional beamer, we've got the particle caster there, got the main body for our gun, and we've got the whip coils or the vicious claws. So yeah, got the same sort of carapace as our previous one, so all in all he looks really nice. So yeah, and of course every model, well not every but most models come with a base, and this one has a 50mm base here, which is a much better improvement than the original 40mm base, because he really did dwarf his base and often toppled over. Oops. This one should hopefully give him a bit more stability. So here we have issue 58, and we have a single miniature. So there's our Canoptek Wraith all finished. We have information on the Black Templars, who have the honour of being the front cover there. We learn building and paint our Wraith, and we have a brand new mission. So the full contents, we have Heroic Origins background for our Space Marines, chapters Black Templars, Heroes Morven Vahl, Canoptek Wraith building and painting, and we also have our brand new mission, Conflict in the Crypts. So first up, we got a brand new background page for our Space Marine heroes. The Ultramarines recruit from the stellar empire Ultramar. The worlds in this realm are varied, including teeming high cities, primitive feral planets, and lethal death worlds. The Ultramarines aspirants are as diverse and disparate as their worlds of origin, but all are lethal warriors. So it starts by giving us an example of some of the Space Marine heroes. Most notable here, Chapter Master Calgar, and Captain of the 4th Company, Uriel Ventress, and my personal favourite, Captain Cato Sicarius, who is the captain of the Victrix Honor Guard at the moment, but he is sadly missing a model. I really wish they'd do a new model for Sicarius. He was one of my favourites and was the first model I followed a heavy metal paint guide for, back when he first came out in 2008. But moving on, here we have a table. It's only a D3, so we got choice of 3 origins here. You can of course roll on the table, or feel free to come up with your own after reading these and gaining some inspiration. So for an example here, we'll just go with the first one here. So the youngest son of a noble house, this Primaris captain graduated at the top of his academy class. As an initiate, he was dispatched to the death world of Krazan, where he survived a full year alone in the wilderness. So, But I think for mine, I'm going to need something a little better because he looks more veteran and grizzled. He's not a young captain like the one we have there. We also have table charts for the Lieutenant, the Librarian, and the Phobos Lieutenant, who will be coming in a future issue. So we can't wait to get him. Moving on then, we have our background for the Black Templars, the Holy Chapter. The Black Templars are warriors of the Adeptus Astartes, yet for all their similarities to their brother chapters, they also diverge greatly from the teachings of the Codex Astartes. Unlike other Space Marines, they see the Emperor as a god to be worshipped and adored. So, during the Horus Heresy, first of all, we'll talk about Sigismund, who was the first Empress Champion and High Marshal of the Templar host within the Imperial Fist chapter. During the splitting of the Legion into chapters during the Second Founding, the Black Templars are formed with Sigismund at their head. Unlike most chapters, the Black Templars prefer to remain a fleet-based chapter and continue pursuing the Emperor's Great Crusade, slaying witch, aliens, and mutants, traitors, the lot, with glee. Notable characters of the Black Templars are High Marshal Helbrecht, the current chapter master of the Black Templars. Although they don't hold the same sort of chapter organization as most chapters, they do have a overall ruler, and Helbrecht is the most recent in the line of High Marshals. We also have High Chaplain Grimaldus, the hero of Hell's Reach, who during the Battle for Armageddon and the Hell's Reach campaign, he was the head of the Black Templar forces, who were embattled with an overwhelming orc force, and he was buried alive underneath a cathedral. He did manage to eventually emerge as the only survivor of that battle, carrying with him 3 sacred relics of Hell's Reach, which he carries with him in battle thanks to his servitors. As I mentioned earlier, the first Empress Champion was Sigismund, the first High Marshal of the Templars, and ever since, the Black Templars have maintained an Empress Champion for each of their Crusade fleets. So the Empress Champion can be any warrior from a neophyte all the way up to a Marshal. He is often given a vision from the Emperor, which is validated by the chapter's chaplains. He is then dressed in the Armour of Faith and wields a black sword. Each Crusade has one of these ancient relics, and it is the Emperor Champion's job to seek out glory and dispatch the enemy's champions in single combat. And the chapter will fight endlessly in order to recover the suit and sword. Moving on, we got background about a brand new hero for the Adeptus Sororitas. This is Morven Vahl. So she is Abbess Sanctorum. Morven Vahl is the spiritual and military leader of the Adeptus Sororitas. Recently elevated to Abbess Sanctorum, she has proven uncompromising in command, unleashing the might of the Ordo's militant to scour the worlds of heretics, zealous, and the faithless. So once a Celestian superior of the Order of the Argent Shroud, Morven Vahl is one of the youngest to have risen to the position of Abbess. She's devoted to the Emperor and to the Sisterhood all. She's a gifted commander and has led many wars of faith. Unlike most High Lords of Terror, she does not like to sit idle on Terror and instead opts to lead the Adeptus Sororitas forces on the front line. She carries with her a great amount of war gear, so she has the ancient Paragon Warsuit Purgator Mirabilis, which has a massive rack of missiles on top. She also has the underslung heavy bolter on her left arm, Fidelis, which slays scores of faithless heretics. And also hailing from the reliquaries of the Imperial Palace is the Lance of Illumination, a sacred and ancient weapon that only the Adeptus Custodes know its true legacy. They gifted it to her upon her elevation to High Abbess, and she now uses it to slay all those heretics. Right, moving on then, we've got our build guide for our Canoptek Wraith. So we've got our usual safety warnings here. So clipper safety, make sure you hold them by the handles, not by the pointy bits. Glue safety, make sure you're in a well ventilated area, as the fumes from this glue can be a bit overpowering. Also, make sure you don't use too much. You don't want to clog up details and meld bits together that shouldn't be melded together. There is, of course, a few various other bits and bobs here. So we got alternative build options, variant assemblies, etc. And a note here saying you will have leftover components. Just put these to the side for later use. So to build our Wraith, we first start by building the main carapace of this guy. So building the bottom sections first of all, then gluing that to the back. Then we build our front end and glue it all together, and this is how it should look, so a gentle curve. Don't glue the weapon supports into the actual weapon, but you can feel free to glue the gun in, but you don't have to, it will fit in quite nicely without the glue, especially once you put some spray paint on it, like I do. And then you glue the gun underneath, building up its tail. So you want to make sure your tail is fully glued and dried to the base first before you attach this, otherwise it could topple over and peel the tail away from the base. We add the power nodes here onto the side of our Wraith. Then we add the claws. You can optionally remove the small pegs and have it posed however you like. Have your choice of heads and of course the neck joint there. Finally, we're building the arms, so we've got to build 2 arms. We take the claw, or you can have the whip, as you see over the other page. Sandwich the claws between the 2 outer claws, and then we attach to the arm, which you can leave unglued if you want, so you can pose it however you want. Then we glue finally our claw arms onto the Wraith's torso, like so. And here we have our extra components. So you got the option of having the whip coils if you like. Again, you got the various heads, and we got the different guns. So they've actually put it correctly this time. They showed the same gun twice in the last one. So this one shows the particle caster, or else you've got the trans-dimensional beamer. Okay, moving on then, we've got our paint guide. As you know, I'll be painting mine differently, but this is how we're going to be painting it if you're painting it in the same way the magazine is doing. So to follow this guide, you will want to first layer base your model with 3 coats of Abaddon Black. Thin coats, mind, don't use thick ones. It's not, it is winter actually. Then you want to start layering up all the armor panels with Runord Brass. There's various bits around the model. Then you're going to use lead belcher to pick out the energy orbs down at the back and the blades, as well as the tail. Applying Canoptek alloy to the uppermost armor panels and the face. Then we're picking out all the energy orbs with Corax White. There's quite a lot dotted over this model. Just take your time to find them all. Next, moving on to some shades. So we're applying Cryptek Armor Shade Gloss to all the areas we painted with Runord Brass. Then we're painting Reikton Flesh Shade over the areas we painted with Canoptek Alloy. And Nuln Oil over all our lead belcher details. And next up, we're going to start highlighting our model. So first off, we're going to edge highlight all those edges with Stormhost Silver. And then for our base, we're going to apply some Astro Granite with our texture tool, Nuln Oil, and then dry brush of Dawnstone. So next up, we got an expansion to the paint guide. So we are giving a dry brush of Dawnstone to all the black areas of our model. You may require to touch up the white after that, and then apply a shade of non-oil just to help knock back those dry brush highlights you've done. Then we are going to go in with a small brush and pick out all the sharp edges with a fine highlight of Administratum Grey, just to help emphasize all those joints. Then we're going to update our Canoptic Scarabs. So we're going to give a shade of Cryptic Armor Shade Gloss to the carapaces of the Scarabs, and then highlight with Stormhost Silver. We're going to highlight all their little legs with Dawnstone before applying Astrogranite. Once that's dry, a wash of non-oil, and then a dry brush of Dawnstone. And then we have our 2 finished Wraiths. So, finally we have our mission, so we will cover this in a future video. So for now, I'm going to zoom out and we'll have a look at that brand new battle mat, and then I'll come back for my outro. So here we have our 4th and final battle mat all laid out. So we've got the continuation of our hab block footprints there, and the road leading down, plus some side streets as well. So this will finish off our generic battle board, which is based on the Moonbase Callus. And on our reverse, we have a nice small battle, which is Jalma's skull, a factory world that is now turning into more of a death world due to all of the heavy lava activity, which has been increased thanks to the ever rising Necrons. And we've got a rather nice cityscape here, so we're putting all our ruins out, plus we've got our 2nd and final reactor there, and we can see it's going to be built a little bit differently as we have this pipe coming out from the rear. So can't wait for us to fight a few battles over this. It'll be interesting to see which battles will be fought over this, as I'm expecting a lot of the later issues to be focusing on huge armies and using the full formats. So we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully once we get my next delivery, which has already been posted, we'll know what's happening, as we'll have some updated issues. But there we have it. Right, back to the outro. So there we are with issue 58 of Imperium. I've also just remembered to do my question of the video, so hopefully if you've made it here this far, here is my question. Out of the remaining models, which are you most looking forward to getting? For me, I think it's going to be probably a tie between the Lich Guard and the Catacomb Command Barge. Those are some of my favourite Necron kits, and it's been a while since I've had them in my possession. I am also looking forward to painting the Ultramarine characters Moneus Calgar and the Primarch Rabute Gilliman, who has been at the bottom of my to paint list for quite a while, I'm afraid. But it'll be nice to finally get him and yeah, give him a good paint job with adding to my collection of awesome models. I'm also in the process of doing a slow build and paint Black Legion army, so it'd be nice to have Abaddon going up against Gilliman in a future battle. But let me know what you are looking forward to the most in future issues in the description, comment section, even down below. And we'll have a good old natter. But if you have liked this video, please do so by hitting that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more mad content. And why not share with your social media groups? It helps get the channel noticed. If you'd like to help support the channel, I of course have links in the description down below for you to use, including my affiliate link for Curton Games, and my social medias, and my Buy Me a Coffee, which might be upgraded to a Patreon soon. But if you want to help me keep the lights on and the tea and biscuits flowing, please do feel free. Yeah, I've got tongue-tied. I will feel gracious for any donations you might do. Yeah, click those links if you'd like to. You don't have to, but it would be nice. So, with that said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.